Clarence Thomas is a Supreme Court justice. It is what it is. People should be alarmed about this, but I do think that there's something twisted that people do not have the same alarm as to what is in Clarence Thomas's rulings and how he would rule on the Supreme Court if he had, 4 other people voting with him, in terms of a complete dismemberment of not just the administrative and regulatory state, but just like every aspect of American society. This guy is so regressive. I don't know what else it goes beyond that. But here's Amy Klobuchar, at the very least, maybe this is a way of doing it, right? Like of drawing people's attention to the problem on the Supreme Court.
Those text messages from Ginni Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife. I want to read just 2 of them. One on November 6th, she said, "Do not concede. It takes time for the army who is gathering for his back." And then on November 19th, "Sounds like Sydney," meaning Sidney Powell, "and her team are getting inundated with evidence of fraud. Make a plan, release the Kraken, and save us from the left taking American down." I mean, my goodness.
Jonathan, the facts are clear here. This is unbelievable. You have the wife of a sitting Supreme Court justice advocating for an insurrection, advocating for overturning a legal election to the sitting president's chief of staff. And she also knows this election, these cases are going to come before her husband. This is a textbook case for removing him, recusing him from these decisions. And I don't think, all I hear is silence from the Supreme Court right now, and that better change in the coming week, because every other federal judge in the country, except Supreme Court justices, would have a guidance from ethics rules that says you got to recuse himself. Thomas himself recused himself in 1995 from a case involving a school because his son was going to that school. Justice Breyer recused himself when his wife was on the board of an entity, and that case came before the Supreme Court.
Okay, and if he doesn't recuse himself?
The entire integrity of the court is on the line here. And they had better speak out on this, because you cannot have a justice hearing cases related to this election. And in fact, the ethics rules that apply to all the other federal judges say that if it involves a family member, appearance of impartiality, they have to recuse themselves. So not only should he recuse himself, but this Supreme Court badly needs ethics rules. Chris Murphy's leading a bill I've long been supportive of that says basically get your act together, get ethics rules in place. And I would hope Justice Roberts, who I respect, will stand up and get those ethics rules in place. They've got to do that. They should.
They deploy her for these things because she is an effective attack dog to a degree. But I don't understand why she stopped short of impeachment there or removal.
I think it's hard. Honestly, I think it's hard to make the case that Thomas Clarence should pay a price because of his wife's job. Honestly, I'm being sincere here.
Recusing himself.
Well, I think by not recusing himself, but the problem is you can't pre-impeach him. You don't know what the case is, right? So you have to wait for that case to show up, and then, based upon his ruling, you could say he refuses to even impose any type of ethics on himself, because there are no ethics rules on the Supreme Court. It is completely voluntary, and so But what's interesting here is that I think there is value in diminishing the reputation of the court, as this does. I think there is value in pressuring John Roberts and making the case that because John Roberts, again, he's the Chief Justice. It's going to reflect on him. I think this guy actually does care to some extent about that. I think he's got license now to sort of vote in ways that he, it can sort of hide the ball a little bit, because there's 5 other justices who are going to do the sort of the political lifting. So I think there's value in what they're doing. I do. And but it's also it should also basically be a message. Well, the only thing I worry about is that the recusal is going to sort of like, if he does recuse himself in some of these cases, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference, right? It's still 5-3. But it's going to be like a release valve for a broader understanding amongst people like Amy Klobuchar and the Washington Beltway that the Republican Party is sick. Like, this is not, the story isn't like, whoa, what an outlier. Ginni Thomas is like getting all her stuff from 8chan about the Kraken, and like Sidney Powell, like they're all getting sued because they're such freaks and lunatics. And the reason why she has access to the chief of staff's texting and phone is because of her husband. Like, this is the modern Republican Party.
It's also the modern Supreme Court.
And the modern Supreme Court, yes. But
I'm
like,
annoyed by like the framing of, the integrity of the court and stuff. Because Republicans are engaged in court packing, or essentially that they have it's a full court press to, no pun intended, to get their right-wing justices on the Supreme Court, then the Democrats have to get out ahead of it and not call for ethics rules, which, yes, is useful, but call for actual tangible consequences for this kind of behavior. Doesn't matter if you don't achieve it, but you get it in the base's mind.
Yes.
Impeach Clarence Thomas. Impeach Clarence Thomas. The court is compromised. The court is poisoned. Like, do that, as opposed to, I don't find ethics rules galvanizing. I'm sorry. Even though I do think she's a decent messenger for that kind of topic.
Well, and they should all be messaging it. And I will also say that, yes, I apparently said Thomas Clarence instead of Clarence Thomas.
Almost stopped you, but I stopped myself. Yeah,
I just couldn't. I was on a roll.
Cedar Sam. You never.
Cedar Sam. I don't care. I don't care about that. I had both the names were there. It doesn't matter what the order is.
Yeah.
That's the way I always do it. It's the law school way. The law school, they don't go Sam Cedar. They go Cedar. Speak. That's the way. It's the Socratic method at law school. That's why I was doing.
Stuck in law school.
Yep.
Law school.
Yeah.
Once you never leave you. It never ever leaves you.
It's law school, California.
But Ilhan Omar called for his impeachment over the weekend. Has there been any other Democrat that has? I'm not sure. But my point is that there are people talking about it. It's just, it should be Amy Klobuchar and more.
Yep.